Hey, everybody. I'm hopping on here because I am finally getting around to addressing one of the comments in one of my previous videos about, a person wanted to know more about how to just live life. Um, I mean, that's a really like extensive topic, but I can just speak to my own way of living my life. And I actually wrote about it in my book, I Died and Learned How to Live, and I talk about 12 principles for daily living. But the how I just healed myself in my life about 14, 15 years ago. And it's an ongoing thing. It's not a one and done by any stretch of the imagination, because we are artful expressions of the divine, and we are living in a tapestry that we are creating every second, every moment as we go along. So I I had created what I call the 12 principles for daily living because I needed a framework. I needed a blueprint in which to live my life because I was struggling so much with integrating my NDE and then living in this world in my role as a mom, as a wife, and at the time as a PA in the emergency room, where it was a very chaotic environment and much, the opposite of who I am, really. I'm a high energy person, but I'm not a high chaos person. Uh, I'm pretty chill. So, I adapted myself to that environment out of necessity and out of what I thought was my only option. So many of us live in chaotic environments in general, in our within our home life, within our work life, or both. And being able to step outside of that and recognize it as the creation, our creation, no blame, no pointing fingers, but we are projections of our inner reality. So when we find ourselves in a situation in life where we wish things would be different, it starts with changing our vibration, our internal energy vibration, and that comes with changing how we view ourselves, how we view our external, observational world that we see, and and then making adjustments in that as we deem necessary. Which the knowledge of the need for an adjustment comes from, hopefully, ideally, our intuition rather than our ego. And I point to here because it's like our thinking kind of gets in the way sometimes of decision making, where also we're coming from a place of fear rather than love. So it's not just a one do this and you'll get this. It's a true artistic creational adjustment that we make within our body's energy that helps to create the change that we wish to see, the change in kind that we wish to see. Sometimes that involves experiences, people, places, things exiting our life. And that's okay. It's a natural evolution, a natural progression of our spiritual, entity existing here in this time space reality that we've all agreed to create. So that is in a nutshell. And I titled my book, I Died and Learned How to Live, because I felt that it was probably the most appropriate title to sort of tell people, what the book was about. However, it's my understanding that nothing ever dies. Nothing ever actually, ceases to exist in its entirety. I was particulate matter when I transitioned from my physical body to my consciousness, which was vision. And I speak about it in the book, and I have a video here where I talk about my actual experience. But I watched as black particles sort of raced up from my body below and surrounded me like a thin, sort of undulating static cloud. And so I was a combination at that moment of my earthly body and my divine consciousness. And that is what I existed as I experienced this other realm of existence that is there before I returned to that physical body. So I invite you to watch any of the videos here on my channel, and I'll be back and I'll share more at some later date. And I love you all.